Moviefone Unscripted, it's going down. Gerard Butler.
Gerard. I can't say my name anymore. Gerard.
You know, I had to do that to you because when I first met you, I kept saying it, and you was like,
Just
Jamie, you keep saying my name wrong. Welcome to Moviefone's Unscripted. I'm Jamie Foxx, along with none other than the hottest man in the game, hands down, Gerard Butler. We're here to talk about our new film, Law Abiding Citizen. We're going to ask questions that you've asked for us to answer, and then we're going to ask each other some questions. So let's get it popping with the sexy Scorpio in the house. Being trained as a lawyer yourself, this was interesting. Would you have made the same deal as Nick Rice would if you had to prosecute the case?
No, I don't think I would. I definitely think that there were some holes in the evidence. You know, it wasn't quite there as much as it could have been. And this is something you and I talked about a lot during the movie. You know, and it was really interesting because you were so defensive of your character.
I was.
And you were like, I don't see the problem. I mean, this is what I would do. And I was like, no, it's wrong.
Exactly.
And
I was very American. I was very like, hey, it's capitalism. Let's go. It's over. Let's move.
Yeah, exactly.
We're trying to be mayor. We're trying to be, right.
And the interesting thing is we both, and this is what's good about this movie, is we both had good arguments. You know, you can go, when you're watching this movie, even me, when I watch it, I go, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand the deal that you had to make, and you know, and you are, in some ways, I felt trying your best. But then I also felt, at what price? Because I totally felt that we had a shot if you just tried. And that's what I feel in real life as well, that you know, I would hope that I would go that extra mile and consider where this guy was coming from. So Jamie, knowing Jerry was knowing that I was originally cast as the DA, are you glad that you swapped roles, and could you imagine having played my role?
I'll be honest with you, I'm glad that we swapped roles, and I'll tell you why. Because as you know, I'm a consumer. When I'm in the theater and I'm watching people's trailers, and I got a hoodie on and nobody knows I'm there, and I hear people going, wow, that trailer sucks, and oh, that stinks. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's gonna happen when our trailer comes up? And your persona comes up, and people see you with the daughter and they see you with the wife, and they automatically think, this may be a romantic comedy, or this may be a kid's film because this is where he's going. And all of a sudden, boom, that home invasion, and people do like this in the theater. And I said, this is it, because now your persona and your character are coming together. You're able to be vulnerable, and at the same time, when you start to kick ass, we root for you for two things. Because the lady asked me a question, you're rooting for the bad guy. I said, no, we're not rooting for the bad guy. We're rooting for the bad guy, and at the same time, we're rooting for Gerard Butler. It's like you can't separate them in this instance, and that's why I'm glad that you played it, because you were able to play so many different flavors in this, and at the same time, when I wanted to get my adrenaline, because I'm a dude, you know, I could see that fight and that craziness and that, you know, that you do, and at the same time, a woman, because you were completely nude, they get a chance to get their thing too. Now, when you get nude, I'm at the concession stand. Right after that, I'm back in my seat.
By the way, they just asked me to do an impersonation next door, and he said, Jamie impersonated, well, I don't know, who was it you just impersonated? Obama, Nancy Gray, I think, well, that was one yesterday.
Nancy Gray?
Yeah.
Why? Back in a moment. Why? Why did he do that? He smoked weed, he drove, he did that to this pure white virgin. Why? Back in a moment. Why are my eyes so big? Why? Back in a moment.
It's always back in a moment.
Why did he kill her? Why did he let this little child in here to expose his testicles? Why? Buy my book. Back in a moment.
All right. Anyway, so and then he said, "Will you do any impersonations?" And I'm like, "Exactly. No." I'm like, "I'm not doing any impersonations after Jamie Foxx." So, as
and then Dr. Phil goes, "Why?"
what worried me was, you know, you coming in this movie, you just done a huge press tour, and you know, and you had all of that going on. So I was thinking, okay, well, because I worked with another actor who was in a similar situation, and he wasn't really applied. You know, he would turn up, he never knew his lines, and he never. And yet, when you turned up, it was the movie. That's what amazed me. I wouldn't have known that you had another career at that point unless we would talk about it. And you didn't really bring it up that much, you know, and which I was really impressed by, because you came and you brought your game. So I don't know. You want to mention that, like how you just switch off?
The thing is that you got to go in and you have to stay disciplined, working with people like Michael Mann, who really challenges you, really like almost makes you to where I don't want to do this, man. I just left a pint of blood, you know, at the rehearsal. I don't want to do. And then you work with even like, and then you may not privy to this, but F. Gary Gray called me one night, and that's my friend.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the whole thing. He says, so Jay Fees, I really think you were a little unfocused today. You know, you really weren't there for me today. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, nah, I mean, you okay? I said, yeah, cool. Go ahead. So he told me what he wanted. I said, well, yeah, I got it. He said, do you? And so that, you know, that brings out I got to make sure I get it right. I got to make sure that I don't let any of this other stuff interfere. And that's one of the things he did with me. He said, don't let because I was commenting like, you know, blame it on the alcohol no more. He said, don't let that get in the way of, you know, what you're doing here. So there was a few things. You know, for one, I wanted to respect the process, and two, I had people there that was like, yo, you better respect the process. So that's how it went down. Unscripted. Here it is. Obviously, you're the sex symbol. People swoon, women swoon, and 2 guys swoon. That's just usually what you have 100 girls and there's 2 guys going. But here's what's when I showed up, and I put a lot of pressure on you, because I said listen, and I'm all the way ghetto. I'm like 300, dude. You got the cacao. You got to have, and you're like, I remember you eating a cupcake like, but I want it. So could you talk about now, because there's a scene in the movie where you are completely nude and it looks freaking incredible. It looks great. People respond to it like crazy. But talk about the discipline that you had to get there, and does that put a lot of pressure on you to always stay in shape?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not the kind of guy who does always stay in shape, to be honest. I was inspired for that scene by De Niro, Taxi Driver. You know that when he's doing the push-ups, and
exactly.
You're like, wow. You just take one look and this says so much about this guy. And this was a great chance, just no matter what my body was, what was going on in my body, just the fact that this guy strips down and goes out there, you're like, crazy, you know, and yet there's a kind of genius to that plan. But then I also felt that was a time to get cut. And one of the other advantages was, like you say, then it meant that I had to train, and and that's one of the best ways for me to try and get my body. So I had a trainer there with me, who, as you probably know, chased me around pretty much everywhere I'm going. Because I love my cupcakes. You know.
Put the cupcakes down.
I love
Put the cupcake down. It was crazy.
And he's always there.
While you sleep in your bed, he's like, put the cupcakes down. So you wake up in the morning, you go, I don't want a cupcake.
Got to put the cupcakes down.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so Jamie.
Yeah.
It's been a blast, and I can't tell you what, from the bottom of my heart, what a pleasure it was working with you.
It really has, man.
And for putting up with my. I know you had to put up with a lot.
Don't even worry about it, brother. You're a Scorpio. I get it. You're a Scorpio, and I understand that your 28th birthday is coming up. So we're going to blast off with that. This has been Moviefone Unscripted. You have gotten it, all of what you want. If you want maybe some of the takes, the outtakes, you probably go to moviefone.com, Unscripted, and check that out, because there's a lot of things where, you know, we had some things going on where we sung some songs and things. We just couldn't fit it all in one day. So check it out. We out.
Yeah, I wish it would just say Jerry. Oh, it's me to you. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so it's Gerard. Let's try Gerard. Gerard.